been described as greyhound racing's Phar Lap, and like the immortal Red Terror, Bold Trease was a wonder of his time. Termed the Warrnambool Warrior, Bold Trease is unquestionably the greatest stayer Australian greyhound racing has produced. Bold Trease diverted public attention towards a low-profile sport by capturing the hearts of thousands. He warrants a justifiable place among Australia's sporting legends. No greyhound has commanded hero worship and idolatry status quite like Bold Trease, and here's one reason why.
Late action still in front by 2 lengths. In second spot, Chantilly Miss. Here's Bold Trease, the champs. He'll do it. Bold Trease, what a great dog. He wins a length. Second spot.
Bold Trease's 4th consecutive 4X Sandown Cup win brought a lump to the throats of avid greyhound fans. Yes, May the 4th, 1989 was a moment that will be preserved for posterity, a truly magnificent piece of greyhound racing theatre. Records are made to be broken, but Bold Trease's effort will stand for eternity. The only other record commanding that comparison is American Negro Bob Beeman's leap into space in the long jump event at the 1968 Mexico Olympics. Contesting his 91st race start and aged 5 years and 2 months, Bold Trease created history in 43.85 seconds of sheer exhilaration and emotion-packed drama. His winning margin of 1.5 lengths divided not winner from second, but immortal from mortal. Let us turn the clock back half a decade of the origins of the Bold Trease story. It was March 1984 when the brilliant distance bitch Irish Temptress, a Victorian representative in the 1980 National Distance Championship, whelped a litter to exciting stud prospect Roy Trease. Cranbourne breeder Maureen Bryant, wife of legendary trainer Ned Bryant, whelped down the litter, and little did she realise that among them a star was born, a canine ambassador that would develop into a PR machine for the sport. The man behind Bold Trease, trainer Norm McCulloch, tells how he secured not only a champion but a canine wonderkind for $1,000. And in the process he relates how the God smiled upon Rod Hay and Jim Rule the day they formed a partnership in Bold Trease with his son Alan.
I bought him as a pup, but 6 weeks old off Maureen Bryant. That's Ned Bryant's wife. I was down there getting dogs checked over, and she wanted to sell a pup, so I just picked one out and bought it then. Well, I bought him, and the other chaps, they had a couple of dogs here, young dogs they bought, and we trained them, and they were no good. They couldn't win a race, so I just sort of said, well, you want to tip into this pup? That was when he was about 12 months old, and to be a bit fair to him, I put him in Bold Trease, and never thinking what he'd be, though. That's how they got into him. He broke in well. We had about 6 or 7 pups here at the time, and he was far the better of the lot of them there. And I think it was about 18 months before we raced him, 18, 19 months. He won his first start over the 450 metres.
He broke his maiden status, winning by 5 lengths in 26.36 over the Warrnambool's 450 metre sprint course. But his real first test as a stayer came during the 1986 National Distance Championship State Series. The megastar was only 23 months old when he captured the state final at Sandown Park, defeating 55-month-old wonder bitch Club Stroller by a neck in 44.06.
Bold Trease running on strongly, 4 lengths Club Stroller. They were followed by Suzanne Gwender over on the inside, and Bay Supreme off the back, and Bold Trease on the outside. Race to the front, Club Stroller finishing strongly. Bold Trease the leader, Club Stroller's flying. The leader, Bold Trease, stands Bold Trease. Bold Trease goes to Brisbane.
Bold Trease finished 5th behind Queensland's idol Kirsty's First in Australia's premier distance event, but the Bold Trease story was only just starting to unfold. McCulloch reveals his thoughts on the big one that got away.
He ran it like a square. Very tight track to Gabba, and it just didn't suit him. He sort of ran into the corner and nearly stopped, and same when he got to the next corner. I think he ran about 5th in the race, but no, he couldn't handle the Gabba at that stage. I think he was only around about 2-year-old then, and we never trialled him onto anything. We just flew up there and put him in, and that was it.
3 weeks after the National Distance Championship Grand Final, Bold Trease secured the first of his unprecedented 4 consecutive 4X Sandown Cup victories.
Racing in the Cup, Propulsion away smartly. So to begin was Caddy's champion Scott Garn. It's Propulsion the early leader. Mercy Beat on the outside second, and Scott Garn driving hard to be third. Tailed off early our Caddy's champion Red Levant. Around the first turn into the straight, and Mercy Beat on the outside, and Propulsion they lead about 3 lengths clear of Snakebite on the inside, and Scott Garn striding up. Cup. They were followed further back by Bold Trease, and then came Club Strata, Caddy's Champion, Red Levant down the back. Mercy Beat and Propulsion are clear of Snakebite. Bold Trease coming hard, and so is Scott Guard on the outside. Up the back, it's Propulsion, the leader, grabbed by Bold Trease. Scott Guard out wide. Bold Trease scampered away in the home straight. It's got the Cup won, and Bold Trease racing away to win easily. A blanket finish.
I think that might have been the best price we ever got him that night, about 8 to 1, I think he was.
He landed the $8,000 first prize in effortless fashion, defeating Propulsion by 6 lengths in 43.84. At the time, an offer of $25,000 for Bold Trease was rejected, but only 10 days later, a freak mishap was to sideline the Warrnambool Warrior for 4 months. Bold Trease suffered a green stick vertical bone split hock fracture of the right hind leg when he reared up and came down awkwardly while being exercised on the lead. Following extensive physiotherapy, he resumed with a moderate fifth in a mixed stake over 550 metres at Ballarat, but quickly found top form, finishing second, beaten ahead to arch-rival Pharaoh's Mask in a memorable 1986 Sir John Dillon Trophy final.
Off the back, it's Bold Trease 5 in front. Pharaoh's Mask has run to second, followed by Crazy Dirt. Bold Trease the leader. Pharaoh's Mask is storming home out wide. Oh, he's nearly got up. Yes, he's won it, Pharaoh's.
I think Pharaoh's might have beat us twice, and I think we beat him once, but there was only a developed print in both of them. There was only a half a head, and could have went either way. There were some good stays around them days.
Then, in a stunning 8 weeks period between 11 September and 8 November 1986, Bold Trease revealed champion qualities, winning 9 successive races.
Look, but it's Bold Trease getting to Amanda the Flash. Then further back, Major Look can't go on. Then Terry Moto, but Bold Trease runs to Amanda Flash. Bold Trease puts its head in front, draws away, and the Victorians, 2 good, wins at a length and a half.
He was about 3 lengths in front of Bold Trease, 4 lengths away to Bay Supreme, but Bold Trease raced up on the outside, and the Warrnambool Warriors on the warpath up the straight, and Bold Trease racing away to win by 6 or 8 lengths. 7 in front. Bold Trease is unleashing a whirlwind run now, and boy, look at him going about 8 lengths away, then Queen of Tango. Mercy Beat 2 in front, but Bold Trease is cutting it down on the outside. Bold Trease moved up, dashed to the lead. It's all Bold Trease. Bold Trease, 4 lengths, Mercy Beat.
Prior to winning his second 4X Sandown Cup on 7th of May 1987, Bold Trease finished second behind Mystic Hope in a National Distance Championship state final and won the Ansett All-Stars at Launceston over 722 metres in a track record 43.67 seconds.
He drew the pink, and believe it or not, he missed it by about 6 lengths. Come out last, I thought, oh, he's away well, and look, and here he is coming out of the box. Oh, geez, we're gone. And their own champion there, Eskimo Chabot, well, we'd got a break on him. Oh, it must have been 15 lengths down the back, and I thought, well, we can't win this, but geez, he got through the field and he got up and he's won by half a length. Well, I think there wasn't a person left the trackside that day when we were parading him back. You know, they really went crazy over it. And to run a record was a big go.
Eskimo 3 in front. Bold Trease going to him quickly. Leanne Gillies and then Bold Tamora. Eskimo Chabot leads for home. Bold Trease on the outside. Eskimo Chabot. Bold Trease a nose. Bold Trease has won a nose to Eskimo Chabot.
But it was his second Sandown Cup win which really started to put the seal on Bold Trease's greatness. He cemented his tag as Victoria's Distance Supremo with one of the most incredible wins ever recorded on the Sandown Park circuit. Quite simply, greyhounds don't get up from those positions. Bold Trease was spotting the tearaway leaders a conservative 20 lengths with 300 metres to travel. Impossible, Mo shouted, but achieve the impossible he did. Bold Trease gobbled up Dead Heater's High Intensity and Galaxy Spirit to win by 2 lengths in 43.59.
Racing lids go up on the rough and running, and High Intensity flew the boxes. Led on settling down by a length or so. Going around them, Galaxy Spirit. Galaxy Spirit on the outside going to take the lead. Running into the first turn, Galaxy Spirit by 3. High Intensity second. They were followed by Nana's Dad. Further back on the field is Red Shroud. Over on the inside, Bomber's Kid. They were followed by Nathan's Girl, Eskimo Chabot. And Bold Trease checked at the tail of the field. Going down the back, and Galaxy Spirit the leader. High Intensity going out after it on the outside. 10 lengths away, then Nana's Dad, Red Shroud. They were followed by Bold Trease, second and third last. Up the back straight, it's Galaxy Spirit the leader. High Intensity on the outside. Bold Trease 8 lengths away, flying home. High Intensity, Galaxy Spirit, Bold Trease. Oh, what a run again! Bold Trease ran over the top of them in the home straight.
McCulloch has vivid memories of the 1987 Sandown Cup and the 1987 Association Cup Series at Harold Park, in which he took out the final in 43.62.
he won the heat pretty well. And we flew home that night, flew up to Foal on Saturday, and he won the final well. That was a great run too. Give him a big start, and I'd suit him down the ground up there. Big long straight. But he done well. That was a really good win. It's good to go to New South Wales and win a big race up there, because they sort of don't like seeing too many Victorians take the money home. But he was a very popular dog up in New South as well.
Then 2 lengths to Rachel's Pride, followed by Bold Trease, Lucky Draw, Beautiful Dream, and Baguette Babe last. Will they get New Style? This is about 5 in front. Tony's Comic, now the Victorian. Bold Trease is gobbling them up. Bold Trease rockets to the line, and what a performance.
Bold Trease certainly quickened the pulses of Sydney fans and set their tongues racing. A Sydney Greyhound journalist reported that it is doubtful that in 60 years of racing, Harold Park has seen a performer quite in the mould of Bold Trease. He wrote, there have been great front-running stayers like Zoom Top and National Lee. There have been ones that come from mid-pack, and there have been those that come from the back. But the one that mounts a charge from the rear of the field when the finish line is just a hop, step and jump away is very different. The two features netted Bold Trease $22,500, and the McCulloch rates these performances as his finest. Shortly after his Association Cup win, Bold Trease was pitted against New South Wales staying star Shady City in a match race extravaganza labelled the $15,000 De Costi Dynamic Distance Duel. It was hailed as a clash of the titans and proved an excellent public relations exercise for greyhound racing. A crowd of almost 5,000 people attended the Harold Park meeting on 20th of June 1987 to witness the ultimate showdown. After an even start, Bold Trease 9-10 favourite and Shady City 5-4 were locked together approaching the first turn.
In front of Bold Trease, he's going to go up and attack into the first turn. She's dropped and Bold Trease stormed away. Bold Trease into the back, shot away, is now 5 in front of Shady City, so the race has run upside down. Into the back now, and Bold Trease 4 or 5 on Shady City. Can she pick him up from there? It's doubtful. Bold Trease at the moment still 4 in front of Shady City, and she's flat as a biscuit to pick him up. He is flying. At the moment, he's running about 42.6, I reckon, on the bend. Bold Trease by 4. She won't give in, Shady City. She's coming after him. Bold Trease and but Shady City on the bend. The Shady City hits the lead. New South Wales. Shady City.
He wasn't making excuses for his champ, but there was undeniable evidence that Bold Trease went into the clash less than 100% fit. And without detracting from Shady City's victory, Bold Trease was vetted after the event and found to have sustained a torn right shoulder muscle and injured left hind leg. McCulloch puts forward his views on the match race.
The dog hadn't been off the lead for 10 days. He'd torn a fan muscle pretty bad, and they'd made a pretty big thing of it up in Sydney and advertised it well. And actually he led by about 8 lengths there, and but he broke down coming around the corner. He hobbled over the line, and we probably should have put it off and waited till we had him 100%, but it was just a victim of circumstances, that run.
The Warrnambool Warrior returned to Victoria with a vengeance following the match race and quickly asserted his authority. During this period, he was considered invincible.
Bold Trease goes to second from Desirable Last, followed by Princess Winnie. High Intensity 4 in front. Bold Trease is running on strongly. High Intensity in front. Bold Trease flying. High Intensity a length. Bold Trease second.
Run on the outside. 200 to go. Mystic Hope 3 in front, but Bold Trease cutting her down and racing off the back, and Bold Trease swept up on the outside, took the lead. Race 3 in front of Mystic Hope. Interest in the minors. Queen Miranda battling away, but it's an easy one to Bold Trease. 5 lengths.
Lisa's Chief in third placing. Bold Trease is starting to fly now in the centre, followed by Magic Roy, Stock Agent the leader, but here he comes. Bold Trease up on the outside. The King Bold Trease swept in the lead in the straight. It's all Bold Trease, the mighty greyhound. Bold Trease came away to win 3 or 4.
Amazingly, Bold Trease's form tapered off slightly between September 1987 and April 1988. Also, during that period, Bold Trease broke his hock for the second time, contesting a free-for-all at Olympic Park on the 26th of October. He didn't resume racing until 8th of February 1988. Only days before Bold Treese's return to racing, he received Victorian Greyhound Racing's ultimate individual honour when crowned 1987 Victorian Greyhound of the Year. Bold Trease had established a magnificent 1987 racetrack record, starting on 28 occasions for 19 wins and 7 placings, including 15 wins and 7 placings from 24 Victorian Metropolitan starts. As Bold Trease prepared for a third successive 4X Sandown Cup win, McCulloch had been subjected to an Australian trait known as the tall poppy syndrome. There is always an element that derives great pleasure in attempting to knock the high achievers off their pedestals. But Bold Trease silenced the detractors once and for all. The Bold Trease of old returned to snare his third consecutive win in a race that he had made exclusively his own.
Racing, Summer J, Blade Action, hopped out quickly, out wide on the track. Second Charm, Double Boost was showing pace, Nana Stud. They were followed by Vic William, and then came Wirry Alec, and the old fellow Bold Trease stopped to the tail of the field, around the turn the first time, scouting out very wide Summer Jade, taking the on down for the lead by Second Charm, Double Boost racing third. They were followed by Summer J back to be fourth, and then Vic William further back was Blade Action. A gap in the field to Nana Stud. Second last, Wirry Alec, and here comes Bold Trease. He hooks to the outside, down the back. Second Charm got away, got 2 or 3 lengths. In second placing, battling away, Double Boost. To the outside, Blade Action, Vic William, and Bold Trease. He's weaving his way through the field, around the turn. Second Charm in front. Bold Trease picks him up. Here's a history-making performance you're watching, and Bold Trease gets up to make it 3 consecutive Sandown Cup finals. A great run. Second home, maybe second.
Bold Treese's 2 lengths victory over Second Charm in 44.05 and the $12,000 winner's cheque catapulted his stake earnings to over $96,000, only $7,065 short of the Australian prize money record of $103,475 held by Queensland star Pretty Fearless. But McCulloch dropped the bombshell when he announced the Greyhound's retirement following the event. Yet confusion raged as to whether Bold Trease had officially retired. Reports quickly circulated that McCulloch may review his decision, and the possibility of Bold Trease doing a Melba could not be dispelled. And that proved exactly the case. The opera would not be over until the fat lady sang. It seemed a formality that Bold Trease would smash the magical $100,000 prize money barrier if kept racing, and he achieved a monumental feat on 12th of September 1988, winning a free-for-all at Olympic Park in 43.90.
He's coming with a well-run now. The leader, Calendar Daisy. Bold Trease dashing down the outside. The $100,000 coming up, and Bold Trease is careering away. Bold Trease 5 lengths, Calendar Daisy, Calgary.
The win brought his stake earnings to $100,410. Now for an assault on the Australian stake money record. But he faced a new challenger in a battle for that honour, Queensland champion Dancing Gamble. It developed into an enthralling battle. Bold Trease won his second Navy Day Cup on 6th of October 1988. But the moment his legion of fans had been waiting for arrived 2 weeks later at Provincial Track Ballarat. Contesting a special event over 735 metres, Bold Trease smashed a track record with a scintillating run of 42.90 seconds, and the mantle of Australia's greatest stakes earner was his.
Bold Trease unwinding with a big run. Bold Trease has gone up the joint. Regal Kid 50 metres out. He's grabbed the front running Andrew. Bold Trease has got the money.
But how short-lived it was. 24 hours later, Dancing Gamble had claimed the record by winning a $50,000 feature race at the Gabba. Bold Trease would never hold that distinction again. From late October 1988 until January 1989, Bold Trease failed to produce the standard of excellence Victorian greyhound enthusiasts had grown accustomed to. In fact, McCulloch contemplated retiring him, but the scent of a 4 successive 4X Sandown Cup was in his nostrils. Surely the 5-year-old veteran with those battle-scarred legs could not do it.
Well, I think we're going to call it a day. Decided he'd had enough. And we just put him out and said, well, that's it, finished now, and a bit of temptation come back. Sandown Cup was coming up, and I said, oh, well, we'll get him out again and see what happens.
It's history now how Bold Trease rewrote the record books and created a chapter in greyhound racing's annals that will never be repeated.
Racing, Bold Trease jumped only fairly. Winning the start towards the outside was Blade Action, is showing good pace. It's going to get across and lead early. Bold Trease will settle down last. And the leader, Blade Action, by 2 lengths. Into second, Strong Colour, then Chantilly Miss around the outside. Further back in the field to Snowtastic, out very wide, Smart Choice, then High Intensity. Bold Trease is back equal last with Star Dreamer, but out of the straight, and Blade Action the one to catch. He led by 3 into the back. Chantilly Miss was second, then Strong Colour. A length and a half then to Smart Choice. Back on the inside, High Intensity. Then Snowtastic. Bold Trease starting to wind up, but he's 8 off the lead, and last of all was Star Dreamer. Blade Action still in front by 2 lengths. In second spot, Chantilly Miss. Here's Bold Trease, the champ. He'll do it. Bold Trease, what a great dog. He wins a length. What an outstanding animal.
He was sort of had himself in a pretty hopeless position in those races, and he got through and won. But they're all good runs when you win. But that's the one that sticks in my mind, is the Sydney Cup and the second Sandown Cup.
Warrnambool's favourite canine son had achieved the unthinkable, and the sport had no parallel to match his remarkable feat. Who really knows when the brakes should be applied to a greyhound's racetrack career? In the final analysis, it rests solely with human judgment. Bold Trease won only 2 of his last 12 starts, with his swan song being an inglorious 8th behind Rules in the 1989 Sydney Cup final at Wentworth Park on the 14th of October. However, in the light of his illustrious career, no one could be critical of McCulloch's decision to prolong his race days to the absolute limit. Perhaps it was a combination of ego and a reluctance to face inevitable, or maybe he was just better than the rest. Bold Trease, 103 starts for 51 wins, 22 seconds, 12 thirds, and being unplaced only 18 times throughout his career, earning prize money of $127,540, leaving him short of $7,185 of Dancing Gamble's magnificent $134,725 Australian stakes earnings record. Bold Trease may have stepped off the throne, but he remains the king. Not only was he chosen as Greyhound of the Decade, but he has also been nominated for the Hall of Fame in America.
Yeah, Bold Trease, he's been nominated. I think we got a letter back a while ago to say that he had to be 10 years of age or something before they'd accept him into it, so hopefully he'll still be around when the nomination goes through.
We don't have the privilege of witnessing the majesty of Bold Trease on the racetrack these days, but his legacy will live on as a sire. His part owner, Alan McCulloch, speaks confidently about the prospects of his progeny.
Probably the next 6 months there'll be quite a few get to the track, so hopefully they'll fly the flag for him.
The Warrnambool Warrior pseudonym could not have fitted the image more appropriately for Bold Trease. The ultimate tribute is that Bold Trease was considered greyhound racing's far lap, and the juxtaposition between canine legend and equine immortal is not artificial. And in that context, Bold Treese's 4th consecutive 4X Sandown Cup win represents a greyhound racing simile. There will never be another Farlap or Bold Trease. They are an immortal part of Australian sporting folklore.
Well, I've called some great greyhound races in my time, but Bold Trease has certainly given me the most pleasure. What a great performer. To win 4 Sandown Cups, an amazing performance, a real crowd thriller, and he'll certainly go down in the annals of history as one of the great greyhounds to race. Bold Trease, a truly great champion.